back to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Living Large. I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Kate.
And on this episode, we're going to do our quarter two review. We're going to look back at everything we did in quarter two. We're going to talk a little bit about how our weight journey is throughout this quarter and all that fun stuff. But before we begin, any life updates you want to give us?
Any life updates? Somebody reached out to me in the last couple of weeks, asked me to join a new board, which I'm interested in. I'll reveal what it is at a future date because I don't want to speak too soon before they accept me.
Because you don't have enough stuff going on.
Well,
you just need to add another thing onto it.
Yeah, I'm interested in it, and I think it's cool that somebody reached out to me.
Yeah, that's
and you know, it never hurts to make new contacts and not talking to people and maybe we'll see about shedding something. Maybe.
Better not be this podcast.
It won't be this podcast.
It'll just be Isaiah and Isaiah living large.
Isaiah living large on his own.
Because Kate has no time to live anymore because she's got so much going on.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about it. It's an important organization in the province and it's a provincial in scope, and I don't know. It might be interesting.
Cool. Well, you'll have to reveal that at a later date.
I know. I'm not trying to be extra sketchy about it.
Being extra sketchy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. What about you? What's going on in your life? What's coming up?
Oh my goodness.
Shaking?
Well, by the time this comes out, it'll be the end of July. We'll be moving into August, so we'll be getting ready for our third pub of the year for third pub, which will be at where's the third one? Oh, the third one is at Moosehead on the west side.
Nice.
Yeah, that we'll be getting up here, gearing up for that. What else? Oh, I'll be getting ready to head to New York for work for like a day. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
I'm excited to go to New York, so we'll get touch base on that afterwards.
Can't wait.
When I come back.
We've done this before, and I love hearing about your trips to New York, and I know everyone else does too. It's a great city.
It is. It's beautiful. I can't wait. Even if I'm there for like a day, I'm already trying to figure out what can I fit in like the span of like 12 hours that I possibly have.
Right. What are three things you must see or do or eat?
So, I mean, if you've never been to New York, Times Square, you have to go to Times Square at least once. After you've been once, you don't have to go again. So when I go this time, I probably will not go back to Times Square. If you have the money in New York, I highly recommend Fogo de Chão. It's like $100 Canadian a plate, but it's like all you can eat meat. Like they come around with like these big old skewers of like meat and just like cut it off on your plate. And like they got the little disc things that's red or green. Red being it's you don't want any more, and green being bring me more. 100% recommend it. It's like a Brazilian restaurant, and it's super delicious. So definitely, if you have the money, 100%. If you don't have the money, find a really good empanada spot. There's like a billion of them. Nice. Or there was a place on the food truck every like Tuesday or something, around like Central Park area, not in Central Park, but just a little ways down, like between Central Park and Rockefeller Center. And it best like Jamaican jerk chicken I've ever had. That's very good too. Yeah.
That was awesome.
So
I'm hungry now.
But I don't know what I have some plans that I'm going to try and hit up some places while I'm there, but I don't have a lot of time, so it's going to be. But I did that last quarter. That was like last quarter.
Yeah, that was last quarter.
Yeah. So like this next quarter, I'll talk about New York again. Ooh. But we finished last quarter. And we had our little review. I know that last quarter we had finished your birthday, right?
Yeah, we had finished the birthday. So
you had hit your 400.
Yep.
And so we were starting the quarter off at 4. You were starting the quarter off 400. I started off at 308. I feel like it was right around was that it was.
Yep.
So how was your weight journey this past quarter? What have you been doing?
Funnily enough, the weight journey is near identical.
Yeah.
It'll fluctuate up a little bit. It'll fluctuate down a little bit, but really cannot break that 400. And, you know, admittedly, there are things that I could be doing differently on the food side, but basically living a reasonably healthy most of the time lifestyle, and still very active, still avidly going to the gym. I almost said vividly going to the
Vividly
gym.
going to the gym.
Still avidly going to the gym, although I did skip today.
It is too hot today.
Yeah. And, and feeling a lot better. And that was ultimately the goal of this year and this whole challenge, was to feel better. And I definitely am that. Although it is I'm trying hard to not get demoralized
Yeah.
by plateauing, but plateaus are normal. We've talked about them on this show
Yes.
many times, but I think, I have to do something to kickstart the next round.
Yeah.
What about you? Where are you at?
I was fluctuating. So we started the core off at 308, and I got down to 306, and then I had that struggle of that plateau at 306 for like a couple weeks. And then I finally broke through for like a day. And then I actually went down. My lowest I was this quarter was 295. I actually went all the way down to 295.
Amazing.
I am now back to 303, but I did drop drastically, and then there was just a bunch of stuff happening, and I kind of didn't go to the gym as often as I should have been, and I ate a little bit unhealthy a couple times, and the weight kind of crept back up, unfortunately. But
that's one of those things, like, and not to, I'll let you finish. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I've been talking about there are plenty of people in the world who eat unhealthy all the time, who don't struggle with their weight. And so it's so frustrating where we go into this self-reflection of like, well, I did have that burger the other day, so it makes sense that I catapulted up 10 pounds.
Yeah, right.
And ultimately, yeah, we certainly eat a burger, but lots of people eat burgers and don't gain weight.
Right. Yeah, no, and I definitely, I mean, I made it down to that 295, which felt really good. That was like, it was only like maybe 2 days I was kind of there, but yeah, it felt good to be down to that. But yeah, now I'm back up and over that 300 mark. But I know I can do it, so I've done it once. I can do it again. We can get, and then hopefully next quarter I'll be down and I won't have moved past. My hope is at the end of next quarter to not move past, like to be not 300. Just like, even though I'm like 298. That's the plan. That's the end of next quarter.
Consistently be below the 300.
That's right.
You know what? I'm going to make my goal to be consistently below the 400.
All right. That sounds like a good goal.
Yeah.
We also had a goal this quarter. We did of the beer run.
Yes.
Which we did this quarter.
We did.
Which was great. And reflecting on that, I really enjoyed it. I know.
I did it. You know what? I really enjoyed it too. In a lot of ways, it certainly was a test, and I like a good test. And it was a lot of fun to hang out with Isaiah. And I'll reiterate this: I kept trying to say, "Go ahead without me," and he would not leave me behind. Which he's a great friend and a great podcast partner, and we're in this as a team. But ultimately, I've been telling everybody that I did it. I'm like, oh, I just did a 5K a couple months ago.
Yeah, listen, we did a 5K, unlike before when me and Nigel participated in a 5K.
Yeah, exactly.
We signed up for a 5K and we did not do it. We participated in it though.
Partook even.
Yes, partook even. Yeah. So that was fun. I really enjoyed that. There was a lot of work to get ready for that. Even though we decided a month before.
Yeah, but we took it seriously, and I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, I'm super proud of us and that we did that. And looking forward to whatever we decide to do next. What was it that someone showed us the candy walk?
Yes, but we can't do that.
We can't do that. No,
we're not going to be there.
No. But I saw that.
But there's a candy walk in Rockwood Park at the end of the month.
Yeah,
and it looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, it looks
check it out. You'll go a kilometer, eat some candy.
Sounds like a sugar rush to me.
Yeah.
What else do we do? Oh, we had our guests. We had our first guest this quarter. It is crazy to think that our first guest was in this quarter.
I know.
It feels like so long ago.
Hey, Amanda. We know you listen every week. Thank you so much for joining us that episode so many weeks ago.
Yes.
It was a great conversation, and I can't wait to have another one with you. I mean, as a friend in person, but also on the podcast. Also, I think it's her birthday today.
Oh, my goodness. Will it be her birthday when this comes out?
No,
It'll be way past her birthday.
it'll be way past her birthday. Happy birthday.
The magicalness of what we just did is gone.
Yeah.
No, it was great having Amanda on as our first guest, talking about all the struggles that she's had. It was really insightful about like the medical side of stuff that she's dealt with, and we'll talk a little bit more about what we talked about medically later.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting having her on. And then later on, we had Katie join us.
Yep, my gym bud.
Which was great. We've talked about Katie before on this podcast.
She also listens religiously every week. Hi, Katie.
And that was great having her talk about her journey of like the creeping weight and things like that.
Yeah, it was really interesting to hear her journey as, someone who hadn't really struggled, but I really think she should get her potential hypertension checked into. Just
not to nag.
Not to be a nag, but silent killer, they say. The silent
killer. And although it hasn't technically happened in the quarter two, we're going to talk our previous last two episodes. We had Becky on, and those are great episodes. We talked about the opposite of what we typically deal with when it comes to weight. We typically talk about having struggles with weight loss. And she kind of talked a little bit about she had issues with weight loss as well, but also weight gain and like the mental health side of things, which was really interesting to me. As well as we talked about the the rock climbing stuff. We talked a little bit about rock climbing, or it wasn't called rock climbing. What was it called?
Yeah, bouldering.
Bouldering.
I don't know what this motion is. I'm not climbing anything like this.
and full fitness.
Full fitness.
Yeah. And that was pretty cool to talk about too.
It's so cool. Yeah. So cool. And, always a pleasure to talk to Becky, again, one of our best friends, and just an interesting person with great perspectives on things. And really, it's great to have people on that make you think and interrupt my voice.
Yes. No, it's great to have that kind of people on, right? So it's, it's great to have other people talk, and I'm just looking forward to any guests that we have on in the future. Super excited to have more guests on.
That one I'm excited about. Again, secret reveal later.
Yes, we have some potentials coming up. I'm super excited about. Now I gotta check my list to see what else we talked about this week, or last quarter. We talked about body health. We talked about health, right? We talked about We started off talking about the fat phobia. No, that was a different episode, but we did talk about fat phobia and healthcare, and how that kind of translated. And you talked about your story when it came to the new way doctors are talking about being overweight in
life-changing new way that my doctor presented a weight issue to me as purely a medical issue, not anything by choice. It is not anybody's fault. It is genetically how they're built. And not to say you can't do anything about it, because that's not true. And you have to. But it's being treated more like a medical issue that you have to work on, as opposed to a choice.
Right, yeah. And that's definitely a great alternative way, rather than this is all your fault and you're just lazy and fat because you're lazy and fat. And I think the being positive about it, but still being health conscious about the issues is right.
I mean, it's important to be health conscious because it's important to feed yourself with good food and be a well-sustained person.
Right.
But it's not mutually exclusive to fat people. We should all do that.
We should all do that, right? Yeah. And and that we also talked kind of about that as well on our episode about body positivity, and we talked about one of our favorite body positive people, Lizzo.
Man, Isaiah, you're really good at bringing this all home. I'm like, oh yeah, we did talk about that. I love Lizzo.
Yeah. And it was great. We talked about the body positivity, and again, that driving home that, even though, people are obese, and we understand that there's health risks, and everyone has health risks, no matter if you're obese or not. I was a guy that's a bodybuilder that literally just died of a heart attack like last week. So
Oh, really?
yeah, it's like some famous YouTuber
Okay.
that died. I believe it was a heart attack last week, but he was like super fit, like super muscular, but
Suspected drugs or anything like
um
steroids or something? Not that you want to
so
just pin it on that, but
so there are some stuff with it. So he did do steroids a long time ago. Um, and they talked about that. And he's talked about that and stuff. Um, but they're not 100% sure what caused his death at this point.
right.
But yeah, but no one thinks that it's steroids at this
No,
point.
well, that's good. And it's one of those things that my dad tells this story, and I don't want to steal his story, but he's not here.
He's not here to tell it. We're stealing it.
He ended up sitting on a plane one day next to a doctor, and a doctor who had since retired, and she was in her 70s or 80s at this point, and talking about various things. And my dad's a curious guy, and says, how do you get healthy? And she said, the way I look at it is that 50% is what you eat and what you do and how you exercise, and 50% is all genetic and luck of the draw. So
Truth.
you can be the healthiest person in the world and have never even looked at a cigarette and dropped dead of a heart attack at 50. Or you can smoke 3 packs a day since you were 8 years old and drink a quart a day since you were 14 and live till you're 99.
Mm-hmm.
But you only have control over a certain amount of it. Again, not fatalistic. You got to do things to feel good and move well and do all those things while you're here. But there are some things that are just beyond control and beyond understanding.
No, exactly. So yeah, you definitely, some stuff is just out of your control, and you try and control the stuff you can control. And so that's kind of where
here's your AA meeting. Except the things you cannot change.
Except the things you cannot change. No, that we talked a lot about health this time around. I think like we had 3 different episodes where we talked about a little bit about health and the well-being that is there. And even in like Becky's episodes, we talked a little bit about mental health and how that even plays an important part in how we live and all that fun stuff.
Now, Isaiah, where do you think we should go from here? I have a few thoughts, but I have, I don't know if you thought about, we're looking into the next quarter and like, what kinds of topics do you think we should cover?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I think we gotta stick with the health stuff. So we gotta definitely have another episode where we talk a little bit maybe more about the other health implications of being overweight or being underweight. I think that's definitely an episode we're gonna have to do. I really want to talk a little bit more about summer stuff because we are in the summer.
Yep, but, it is indeed summer, as evidenced by the temperature in this room right now.
Oh my, it is super hot in this room right now.
But, where's my powder?
Yes, makeup, please.
Yeah.
But I think we definitely are going to talk a lot about what we do this summer. We got lots of plans. I think we set some goals.
One episode that I think we should do and is not a food prep episode and like how to food prep, and maybe we find a guest out there and like delicious recipes and like really get into it. Maybe we do it in the kitchen. I don't know. I'm throwing stuff at the wall at this point. Do we have any friends or listeners who like to cook and food prep in a really healthy way? I feel like that would be a solid episode. I'm really hungry.
I think I know someone who sells food stuff and they cook for part of their thing. Maybe they could also include that in there as a sponsorship. No, it starts with an E. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Hints to the person maybe listening to this, maybe not, who knows? You know who you are. But we'll talk about it. Yeah, definitely food prep would be cool. We could move out to my kitchen and set everything up out there and have that.
A pure cooking episode, and not like, I'm hilarious in the kitchen because I'm mediocre at best. My dad always jokes that I've only ever made him 2 meals, and that is a tuna melt and nachos, but the best nachos he'd ever had. So
yeah, I think that'd be cool. I really want to do an IRL stream. We've talked about this. We don't know when we're going to do it, but I really want to do a live one where we'll answer some of your guys' questions and things like that.
Yeah.
We'll see when that comes. That might be a little bit down the road still.
It'd be in the fall.
Yeah, I think that might be in the fall, which will be Q4, really.
Yeah, maybe for episode 50.
Ooh, yeah. That's a good idea. But if you guys have any ideas of what you guys would like to hear us talk about, or comments about what we talked about in Q2, or something you want, again, what do you want to hear us talk about, or guests that you'd like to have us on, or if you want to be a guest, highly comment, let us know. We're definitely open to having guests on.
We want you on.
Yes, we love hearing other people's perspectives on things.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you want to come on and tell us that we're both trash. Well, even then.
You can comment that.
Yeah. We'll delete it.
Well, it's engagement. I'll take engagement all day long.
Okay, we'll hide it.
Let's go. I will take engagement on videos all day long.
For sure.
But I think we have covered everything we've done in Q2. We talked a little bit about what we're hoping to do in Q3.
Yep. I mean, the one episode we didn't talk about is clothes.
Oh, yeah. We did. We talked about clothes and bathing suits.
We did talk about clothes and bathing suits, and I really quite like the dress I'm wearing today. It is from In Pursuit.
Ooh.
And a nice little shout out to Dominique at In Pursuit again.
In Pursuit. Yeah, I do love the ladies at In Pursuit. Heck yeah.
Yep. But I don't know. I was just looked at my dress in the camera and I was like, "Oh, we didn't talk about our clothing episode."
This is from a streamer called Towley on Twitch.
I've heard of that. No, I haven't.
He streams World of Warcraft.
I will never watch that.
Never. No.
Sorry, Tally.
Ode to Towley. But I think this is a great little stopping point. And where can people find you on the internet?
People can find me on the internet at the Caitlin Dean on Twitter. Oh, I haven't downloaded the new one yet. Threads. I'll have to make that another confusing name to make this extra long. At Kate D on Instagram, or Kated. Caitlin Dean on the Facebook, and also Kate and Isaiah Living Large also on Facebook.
Yes, Kate and Isaiah Living Large on Facebook for sure. And I am at Maritime Brews everywhere and on Threads, because your Instagram, whatever your Instagram name is, carries over.
Oh, good to know.
It's just based off of Instagram.
Neat.
Threads is pretty cool. But also, if you're interested in any of the episodes that we've talked about, there will be that end pop-up with the playlist of all the Q2 stuff somewhere on either side of this thing. If you're watching on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, thank you for listening on Spotify. Otherwise, if you are, you can always jump over to YouTube and, subscribe, so you make sure you get those notifications right away.
Can't miss it. Can't miss a beat. You'll never know.
Right?
What'll
You'll
happen.
never know when the next episode comes out every Wednesday at 8:30 a.m.
Yeah.
But until next week, bye.
Bye.